This is a quick show to show how to fix a problem with Pulumi that you may have hit just recently. Pulumi or Terraform. I use Pulumi for some projects, and that's where I hit it, but I believe the underlying problem is with Terraform. What was the error? All of a sudden in our pipeline, we started seeing this can't register provider, Microsoft.TimeSeriesInsights. Why on earth is it trying to register TimeSeriesInsights? Not something that was not a change to the code, that's for sure. And if you come into, what does that mean? If you come into your subscription and scroll down to the resource providers, from there, if you get that kind of error, you can normally come in here and just search for the provider and then register it. So you can see this one here isn't registered. Some providers need to be registered in your subscription, but it's not here. There is no provider for TimeSeriesInsights. After a bit of Googling and messing around, I discovered this post. The link is in the show notes, and this describes the problem, that very similar problem, can't register the TimeSeriesInsights. But you'll notice if we look here, this is a HashiCorp Terraform provider, the AzureRM provider. So not a Pulumi specific error. Pulumi is just bubbling up the problem. So it's like, okay, that's good. The end result of reading through this for me was to do an upgrade of the Nuget packages, the Pulumi Nuget packages. So we're using 5.6.3 and upgraded to 6.8. I'm not sure exactly where the fix is, but when I did the upgrade to 6.8, then this problem goes away. It no longer tries to register that provider. But then you get some new problems. And what do those problems look like? I started seeing this subscription ID is required, a required provider when performing a plan apply operation. I'm like, well, that wasn't a problem before, so I don't know why it was doing that. And it doesn't, the painful thing about this is it doesn't tell you where this is lacking, where in your code. So if you're creating a lot of resources, finding where you need to add that is difficult. I ended up putting it on all of mine, and I'll show you the code for that in just a sec. And it eventually went away, but that's not actually the fix. So what I did was I had code like this everywhere. So it could be anything that where you're creating a resource in Azure. So I went through and created a provider, which includes a subscription ID in the provider args, and then you can specify the provider using CustomResourceOptions as an argument for the resource that you're creating. So like I said, when I went through and did that for all of my resources that I was creating, then the problem went away. But then there was a warning. And the warning was, I think I've just got it here. I don't have it in my PowerShell window anymore, but this was the warning. The property is deprecated and removed in version 5. So please use this property instead. Again, it doesn't tell you where you need to make this change, but basically it's because, or this is what I figured after much poking around, it's because I'm doing this. I'm creating a provider and I'm passing that in here. So what's the actual better way to do it? Don't do this. And there might be a better way. This is just what I found worked for me. So I'm just sharing because it took me some time to arrive at this solution. I'm hoping to save some of you some time as well. Don't do that. Instead, where you can define your subscription ID is in the config. And so I've already got config, and I've got it for different services. It needs to be this. So Azure subscription ID, and then your subscription ID. If you do that, then you don't need to specify it here. It just automatically picks it up, which is okay, no problem. But you might still have a provider declared. For example, for a key vault, you may want to set purge soft delete on destroy to true, just as an example. In which case, because you're defining the provider, then you'll have to set the subscription. If you don't set the subscription here now, then you'll come back and you'll get that that warning. So this custom provider args I'm creating here, to do that, that gets passed into the provider when we create it, and when we create the resource, that's how we assign the provider. So that works, but it's going to give you that, you'll then still get that warning saying it's going to be deprecated. So I think the reason why I'm still getting that, why I'm still needing to do that, is this is the older, what I would call, I guess, the Azure Classic provider. If you use the newer Azure Native provider, there's a different way to create the key vault, which allows you to work around it. So if you're doing something new, I wouldn't use this Pulumi.Azure. I'd use the Pulumi Azure. I think it's Azure.native. Yeah, Azure.native, and try and create your key vault from there. Then you won't need to. You won't get that warning. I think that's everything. That will certainly get you past the original error and the subscription ID required error. The warning, if you still get the warning because you're using an older provider, that's something you can solve down the track. That's what I'm doing with my particular problem. I'm going to solve that one down the track. I've already spent too much time finding this solution. I hope that helps save someone some time. If it does save you some time, help the channel and do the like and subscribe thing. Thanks for your time, and yeah, be kind, be curious, and create something great.